Hello, friends. Welcome to the Redefining High Performance podcast. My name is Ty Bennett, and on this episode, we're going to talk about the number one driver of high performance. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to share with you what our research has revealed as the main driver, the number one driver of high performers. And the reason I think this is fascinating is because this is what separates good from great. What allows people to succeed, to perform at a higher level. I think all of us want that, and I want to understand what those things are. What is it that they're doing? What's setting them apart? Is it a skill set? Is it a mindset? Is it something that I'm missing? How do I bring that into my life? And so in the next couple of minutes in this short, sweet episode, I'm going to share with you this piece of research and give you some thoughts around it. Before I dive into that, I want to point out something that was interesting. In the research, we looked at both skill sets and mindsets. So I want you to think about this question. When you think about high performance, what drives high performance? Is it skill set or is it mindset? The reality is our research showed that it's both. And so as I share this with you, I'm going to share the skill set that separates or that drives high performance, but I'm also going to share some mindsets that go along with it so that we can start to implement that in our life, so that we can start to work on it. So according to the research, the number one driver of high performance is preparation. Yeah, you heard me right. It's preparation. And you might go, preparation? Well, here's the truth. High performers prepare. They put in work in the unseen hours. They prepare for those moments that matter most so that they can show up and they can win in those moments. I don't know what those are for you, but maybe you have an important conversation coming up. Maybe you have a conversation with one of your coworkers, a boss, somebody that you manage, or just a friend, a neighbor, a coworker, something that you're going into it. Do you prepare for that? Do you think about what you're going to say beforehand? Do you practice it out loud? Do you try and show up with some preparation? Maybe it's a big presentation that you have coming up. Maybe you're in sales and you're working on handling objections. And so you're going to practice that a little bit with your manager, your team. You're going to role play some of those things. The preparation allows you to show up and be your very best self and perform in those moments. I want you to think about it this way, because here's the truth. I know that preparation is not that exciting. It's not this overly exciting idea. And so I want you to look at it from a different angle. Here's my question. What does the lack of preparation cost you? What does the lack of preparation cost you? Because there is a cost. That cost might be in influence, right? Maybe you're missing out on expanding business because you're not preparing. Maybe it's with existing customers to be able to deepen the relationship and therefore provide more services, expand business or revenue. In fact, recently, a survey showed that 82% of B2B buyers are frustrated with seller preparation. And so if you're in sales, maybe that's a wake-up call to you that goes, yeah, I can't just phone it in. I actually need to prepare. I need to do some research. I need to get ready for that conversation. A speaker friend of mine, Phil Jones, he wrote the book Exactly What to Say. He defines sales this way, that selling is earning the right to make a recommendation. I love that. Selling is earning the right to make a recommendation. And how do you earn that right? You prepare. It's research. It's asking questions. It's diving in. That preparation allows you to show up and speak to their needs to move the needle, right? That's what I'm talking about. There is a cost. Maybe the cost is in relevance. Maybe the cost is in influence. There's a cost to the lack of preparation. And I think all of us are guilty of that in some way, shape, or form. Let me give you a pretty iconic example. In 2013, there were some Nike executives that were getting ready for what they viewed as a routine meeting. They were meeting with a client who was already on the books. He had been with them for 4 years, and they were renewing his contract. And so they thought it was pretty routine. They didn't put a lot of preparation into it, and it started to show pretty quick. That client was the basketball player, Steph Curry. Now, Steph Curry is a household name, greatest shooter of all time, incredible personality. He has so much joy when he plays the game. They showed up into that meeting without a lot of preparation and it started going south. One of the Nike executives started calling Steph the wrong name. His name is Stefan, and he started to call him Stefan. Now, that's a bad situation anytime if you're sitting down with somebody and you're using the wrong name. But imagine this, Steph is already a client and he's a household name, right? And this guy's screwing up his name. That's got to rub you wrong a little bit. They didn't prepare for that meeting. They actually reused the slides that they had used for Kevin Durant. And the reason we know that is because Kevin Durant's name was still on the slides. When that meeting ended, Steph Curry made a decision to leave Nike and go to Under Armour as his shoe supplier. Most people estimate that in the last 12 years since that happened, that has cost Nike $14 billion. Yeah, billion with a B. And that will continue to move forward as Steph continues to play and probably long after his career. There is a huge cost sometimes to the lack of preparation. And so I want you to think about how you're preparing for those moments. Because I know for me that when I prepare, when I put in the work, so take a speech, for example. That's what I do for a living. I give keynote speeches. And so when I'm fully prepared, here's what I've noticed, that preparation doesn't just allow me to be rehearsed. More importantly, it allows me to be present. I was having a conversation the other day with a speaker friend of mine named Sean Bott, incredible speaker, mentalist. He's amazing. Look him up. And he said, Ty, when you get to the point of play on stage, when you're playful, when you just let your personality come out, it's super fun. And the insight that I had was, for me, getting to the point of comfortable, of play, where I can just fully show up present, that's on the other side of preparation, meaning I have to put in the work to be fully prepared to show up there and be present, engaged, and just allow myself to be, because I've got everything ready and internalized in terms of what I want to bring to the table or to the stage in that situation. Preparation matters. So let me talk to you a little bit about the mindset from a preparation standpoint. We like to prescribe to the mindset of the Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs are probably the highest performing team in the world, and their motto is this: we don't rise to the occasion, we fall to the level of our preparation. We don't rise to the occasion, we fall to the level of our preparation, meaning you have to put in the work, because the default is that you're not going to show up and wing it. That's kind of naive to think that I'm just going to wing it, I'm going to win in those situations. And there's an actual cost to it. It's costing you big time. Now, along these lines, I want to share another mindset. I started as an entrepreneur when I was 21 years old. And a couple months into that business, I had a mentor who shared something with me that was powerful. So powerful that 20 plus years later, I still remember it. I remember the conversation. I remember exactly what was said. This mentor said to me, Ty, if you treat your business casually, you will become a casualty. If you treat your business casually, you'll become a casualty. That has stuck with me, because we could apply this to a lot of different things, a lot of different areas, a lot of different takeaways, if you will. But for me, in this conversation, professionals prepare. High performers prepare. They put in work. They dive in. They do the things that are necessary to build the skill, to build the mindset, to build the acumen, to do the research, to just practice out what they're going to say, to show up in the way that they want to, so they can be present and effective and engaged and win in those moments that matter most. Preparation is the number one driver of high performance. So the poignant question is, what are you doing to prepare for those moments that matter most for you? That's what I want you to think about. I want you to think about what you're doing on a regular basis. Now, I'll give you just a quick analogy to this. My two sons, Tanner and Drew, who often join me on stage, they compete in the sport American Ninja Warrior. If you've ever seen the show, it's that sport. It's an obstacle course. And when they started, this was about 6.5 years ago, they were young. They started into the sport. a few months into taking some classes, they were invited to go to their first competition. And we didn't know what to expect, so we went. And the way that it works in Ninja is they lay out a course, and the first criteria is points, obstacle completion. How many points can you get? So if there's 10 obstacles, if you complete all 10, you get all 10. The second criteria is speed, or how efficiently you do those. So if you get 10 points and I get 10 points, but you do it faster, then you would win in that competition. So we went, we competed, we had the experience, and then we came home and I said, okay, boys, if we're going to train every day, if what matters most is running courses, then what we're going to do in your training is we're going to set up and run courses. And so we started to run courses every single day. I would build courses, they would build courses, and they'd practice courses, because coursework is different than if you just go and practice a couple of skills, right? When you run a course, you're thinking about, how do I put all these skills together? You're thinking about the transitions. You're thinking about efficiency on all of your movement. You're having to keep it all in your mind and train your body. There's muscle memory that comes from it. We call that in their training coursework. I believe it has been one of the greatest factors in them becoming nationally ranked, some of the best ninjas in the world, because of that coursework. And my question to you is, what is your coursework? What is the preparation that you need to be doing, should be doing, that if you do, it's going to move the needle for you and what you do? If you were to put in that work, that preparation, it's going to allow you to show up in those moments that matter most and win. Your homework assignment this week is to, number one, identify that coursework. Number two, dive into and start working on that coursework. At least make a plan in terms of when you would, how you would, what does that look like? And number three, I want you to invite someone to hold you accountable to that coursework. We kind of call this a high performance map. MAP being an acronym. Number one, you need, the M is you need mentors, right? You need coaches. You need people to help you along the way. And hopefully in just a small way, this podcast and some of the research that we're sharing on here, that I'm sharing with you now, can act as a mentor. It can give you ideas and thoughts in terms of how you show up. Number two, you need accountability. You need somebody to hold you accountable, somebody that you can report to, somebody you can talk through it with you, a training partner, if you will. And number three, you need a way to review that performance. We call it a performance review. You know, for me as a speaker, that performance review comes in the form of video, going back and watching it, listening to it, reviewing it, getting feedback from other people. I don't know what that performance review is for you, but some way that you can have a metric that you can review it and go back and look at it. If you'll put that together, that plan and your high performance map, preparation can really change things for you. It can be a game changer. It is the number one driver of high performance. That wraps up today's episode. Thank you for listening. Again, these are short, sweet episodes. I'm just trying to bring you one point of research, some thoughts around that research, some takeaways so that you can use it. If this was helpful to you, please subscribe to the Redefining High Performance podcast. Please give us 5 stars, rate us, review us, put in a review, give us some thoughts. I'd love that. Share it with a friend. Thank you so much. And I'll be back again next week with one more piece of research to dive in just a few minutes and give you something that you can use in your week. Thank you so much. This is Ty Bennett. Talk to you soon.